Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan Jarosz with Summit County Progressive Democrats, continuing our series with the Akron Mayor interviews. And I'm joined by Mr. Keith Mills, candidate for Akron Mayor. Thank you so much for joining me, Keith.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Now, why are you running for mayor?
Basically, because we need a change. We've had the same people 30 years, different faces, same mindset, 30 plus actually. So my father always instilled in me, if no one else is going to stand up, you have to. So I think it goes if just for instance, you're on a boat, somebody's drowning, you can't just wait around for somebody else to do it. Sure. You have to go do it.
And so why do you believe you are qualified to be mayor?
I have a huge different black background, and I'm personable, and I get along with just about anybody, and I'm very approachable, very reachable, and I can blend in with anyone, personality-wise, skill set-wise. If I've been a lot of different things in this city and in my life, I've been the college kick-out. I've been the high school dropout. I've been homeless, been down on my luck. I've been a business owner, still am. Don't really have a lot of time to do it though, but I still am. I'm a teacher. I've ran for politics before. And I'm just a very approachable person and down to earth, and it's just me. I'm real. I have no other persona. I'm just me. You get what you get. So
sure.
Yeah, I want realness back in politics. I'm tired of the half and half, and you see this person and that person, and I really hate how you'll have politicians and they'll say words and they'll say things. It sounds great, but nothing ever comes out of it. Nothing. I hate bureaucracy. I want to actually get stuff done. So.
And I know you mentioned about your background being a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that there are any experiences that you've gained from being a teacher that may give you a unique perspective as a mayor?
Patience.
Okay.
Lots of patience. And understanding you may not always have the answer, but then also learning how to get the answer. Collaboration with not just students and teachers alike, but administration and people outside, like parents, and making those phone calls that you're like, I don't want to call, I hope they want to answer, but you do it anyway.
Yeah.
So you just have to jump. Like, I've been skydiving before, so I like to fight and flight. You just have to get past that, and then you get better. Bureaucracy, dealing with bureaucracy. There's so much bureaucracy in education, it's ridiculous. It's actually counterproductive, but that's just my opinion, I guess. But yeah, dealing with that, how to navigate it, who to talk to, who not to talk to, when and where. I mean, those different things will obviously, they would transfer great over to being a mayor of a mid-sized city in the Midwest. So yeah, especially, also being an Akronite, it's just that, I think I can bring those skills to office.
Now, with our organization being progressive, there's Summit County Progressive Democrats,
Sure.
What do you feel it means to be progressive? And would you identify as a progressive?
I may almost identify as a progressive. Mm-hmm. So I do have an issue with the government being more involved, but just because I've seen government, they want to be more involved, but they don't know what they're doing. So it's like when you see, let's give them more money, well, they don't know what they're doing with the money they have in the first place. So I don't know if I want to give them more. It's like giving money to a little kid. I think that, I may be on the borderline, and I do think that government, if controlled right or done right, can be a huge help to moving society forward. It just has to be done right.
Sure.
So I guess I might line up with progressive that way.
Okay.
But then sometimes I see myself as moderate, or
Okay, yeah.
So it's just kind of, I have a spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's what that means to me. I mean, and I'm very varied, like open to always growing and feedback and changing things, but I'm not like a staunch on almost anything. So,
Sure.
So yeah.
Now, with your campaign, as you may talk to different members in the community, I'm sure many issues pop up.
Sure.
What do you see as some of the most important issues facing Akron today?
So I do have a list and stuff, and I may reference some of those.
Go ahead.
But the huge thing is housing affordability, both in terms of homeownership and not everybody can be a renter. I personally am more for homeownership, financial literacy. Schools do not necessarily provide that to our students.
Sure.
So, and those are real life skills. I've never really used trigonometry. So I'm like, well, you don't really need that. Maybe you do need to know how to balance your checkbook and,
Sure.
and understand what a credit score is. And and so all citizens need to feel safe. All citizens, but I think the question is raised is how do we achieve this to a high
Sure.
degree? So that's huge. It's not a simple answer. Customer service in Akron, people get referred to 311. That's great, but you never hardly get a call back. Or you actually have to go downtown and spend a day out of work to get things done. Now, the city employees are awesome, but it's just there's a disconnect. I had one person, she just became a homeowner. She's like, why do I have flags in my yard? No one ever told me what's going on. And I'm like, well, what color is it? They're probably going to dig. They're probably going to do this. But they have no communication from the homeowner. Like, why do you want to dig up my driveway, my sidewalk? What's going on? Like, is it Dominion? Is it, the water department? Who? But yeah, customer service is huge. And I think you should be able to reach your mayor, reach your council people. They should be transparent. And, there are people in your community, so you should be able to get a hold of them when you need to. And they shouldn't run away from your questions. They can either answer them or they can't. Water and sewer bills, they average $100, and I'm like, that's fine. I could probably afford it. You could probably afford it. But what about the old lady that is living off of Social Security? I know that we'll say Social Security was not designed for that, but it is what it is. And so how can we help them? So I want to fix those. I will fix those. Then how do we get people engaged with each other? I see that, council people say, I have a council meeting, but nobody hardly knows about it. You get it in the newspaper. People are working, people are missing. So how do we get our politicians and our citizens engaged with each other constructively to make this a better city? And then so I guess it goes along with ghosting.
Sure.
And if no one knows what ghosting means, it's like you reach out to me and you never see me. I never answer you back. I may have got your message and I left you on red, which is a social media thing, but I hate ghosting.
Right.
I loathe it. And I won't do that. If I don't answer, I'll just tell you I want to answer. Or, and communication, that goes with it too. And then economic development. How can we diversify our economy more than, relying on the big five? And then getting citizens back into Akron. So, yeah, those are some of the issues. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing kind of what you have experienced, what you have seen and heard. Now, I know one of the more recent changes in Akron was the passing of Issue 10.
Yes.
That incorporated the Citizens Police Oversight Board. What is your opinion on that? Do you think it's enough, or what other ideas do you have to improve policing in Akron?
Popular or not popular, I don't think it's enough. I think it's a piecemeal. I think it's just a knee-jerk reaction, if you will. That's great that we have people elected, put on the board. Something that stuck out to me is that we still have a union. We still have a police union. And does the Police Oversight Board have teeth? And you can tell me all you want to as Oversight Board, like, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I mean, that's just my opinion, I guess. So it may be a start, but it's like putting on your left shoe. Where's the right shoe? You didn't tie any shoes. You're not running. So it's just, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction, piecemeal. I think what needs to happen is more accountability and better training for our officers. Better training in maybe the right, and I'm not condemning, but I'm better the right, the better police chief, a better mindset. Culturally sensitive training. I do have, and this may not be popular, but it is what it is. I do not want people who are not used to seeing our citizens. So yes, that may be black Americans. I do not want somebody from out of the city necessarily coming in with those ideas or how they're maybe painted, because it's not fair to them, and they're not all like that. I work in a predominantly black school. I love my students and my staff, and they're not like that. So I don't necessarily want them coming in with that idea that they're like a certain way. Okay. So yeah, we need to really work on that, and but yeah, I can go on and on, but I know we're pressed for time.
Well, and what would be an ideal policing situation in Akron? So you mentioned about the wrong mindset. What does the right mindset look like for policing in Akron?
Not jumping to conclusions.
Okay.
Thinking before acting. for no better way to say it, and I may be hesitant maybe a little bit, but no one gets shot 46 times. No one. I don't care who you are. Maybe Hitler. But no, I don't care who you are. Okay? So, like me personally, and I did try for the police department for Akron. I passed the test, got to do physical. So so this mayor thing came up. So you have to be the change. I personally would have just tackled the guy. I wouldn't have kept on shooting. That comes from training and it comes from ideology. You don't do that.
Sure.
Just plain and simple, you don't do that. You could have, you obviously got in relation to his plate. You know who he was. It's like a high-speed chase. Go pick it up on the back end. So it is very hard though to keep a calm mindset in that situation. We have to understand it as well. But better training and education and communication should hopefully stem some of these issues. It can be hopeful. So I think not acting off of emotion and adrenaline, which it can be hard to do, is something that we need to instill in our police officers. And from the bottom up to the top, it just is what it is. And side note, I was actually years ago pulled over by Kent cops, and pulled out by gunpoint because they thought my purple neon that I was borrowing from my mother was stolen because they misran their license plate. And they did the whole thing, turn the car off, throw the keys out the window, put your hands out the window. And I complied. I did it because I know police officers. That's, So when I got out of the car, the guy was reaching out with his gun, actually cocked, aimed. And you never pull your service weapon unless you intend to use it. And I really, to this day, think that if I was a different color, I may not be here right now. I really honestly think that. They put me on the ground, came cuff me, held me for an hour, no apologies, oh, you can go, after they did their business. Like, dude, that's not a good look. And I've always, and my background too is that just living here and anywhere else, I never think as the cops are going to be there to help me. I always think they're up to something. And then we talk about everything else. That's just me, though.
Yeah, sorry you had to go through that experience, but thank you for sharing and sharing your experience there. I know another issue that recently happened was the passing of the White Pond project. That was one that was a significant legislation update approved in December of 2022.
Sure.
What is your take on the White Pond project?
I don't like it.
Okay, and why?
I don't like it. You think before studying. I'm not a fan of the 15-year. You're giving my money away. We're almost $1 billion in debt. I don't know what you're thinking. We can't build to build's sake. I live over that area. I'm coming from work from Cleveland. I'm getting off at White Pond just today. I posted something on Facebook on my personal page. You can see I'm sitting there out on the highway to get off. So don't give me about, there's infrastructure. Also, you're building all the way down by Frank. I'm not going that way to go where? Where am I going? I'm not going anywhere. I just go to Fairlawn. I'll go to White Pond. It's right down, like the next exit, Ridgeville, whatever. So I don't like it. I think they just did it, just to do it, and this whole idea that, well, if we don't build it, they will. Well, so that's not a reason to build. We have so much property, so much land that's underused in Akron. I'm not a fan at all. So no, and I will do some of that 15-year thing because you can't give me my money, our money away when you're just putting money on our credit card. Mm-hmm. You're not being fiscally responsible.
Well, thanks for your take on that. I appreciate it. One other question I had, I know the recent campaign finance reports came out back in January 31st, and of the 5 candidates who submitted their reports, you had the 5th most raised in fund rate out of the 5.
Yeah.
How do you plan to compete with some of the other candidates who may have more name recognition or have more money banked, tens to thousands?
I would hope that the majority of citizens, especially now with access to so much information free, that you wouldn't just bet on name recognition. And I would hope that people would understand that, to go back earlier, you're hiring, because the mayor of Akron makes over $170 plus benefits. And your council people make $30-some thousand. Most people in Akron don't make that for a part-time job, pretty good gig. So you're actually hiring these people. I would hope that you would be mindful of who you are electing. Do your research, look into people, see what they're about. Please do not fall into I have more money, I have a billboard. I have more money. I put a website up that says nothing, but I'm pretty. And I have people in IT, and they're saying that websites are not really that followed that much for a lot of people. I haven't pulled the data about the traffic and whatnot, but we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have YouTube. All these things are free, and I utilize them all the time. So I would hope that people would utilize those and see who is really real and who's putting on a show. I do have people that have talked to me about fundraising. I hate asking for money. I was never raised that way. And so in the meantime, I just fund myself, basically. But I have talked to people, and I understand that I have to sometimes bite the bullet and just have to let those people do their thing for me, because it does take money. But I already have some of my stuff from when I was running still, so we'll rebrand those and more of a grassroots type deal. But yeah, I just that doesn't really affect me that much, being the last. I guess the only thing that is nice is the paperwork. I don't have to fill a lot of paperwork out.
Sure.
Proving that I didn't get my money from China or something. But yeah, which is good. But yeah, it doesn't really affect me. I would hope that people would, use those tools, come find me, be more educated, and because the information is free, it's out there. We've never in our whole lifetime have had so much access to so much information. We have the world's knowledge in our pocket. We use it for Reels though, and Instagram. My kids do that at school, but there's so much information out there. So yeah, definitely look me up on Facebook and everything else. But yeah, and we will raise more money. But yeah, I'm not a showman, so I don't want to put a show on.
Well, speaking of information, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you, whether they wanted to contribute, volunteer, or just learn more information about you?
Definitely. So millsforakron@gmail.com. My Facebook page, Keith Mills. It's pretty open because I'm not a bad guy. I'm pretty straightforward. I don't have the bandwidth to play different. I don't know. So check me up on there. We also have a Facebook page, Mills for Akron, 2023. And my phone number, you can just call me. It goes right to my pocket, or somebody else will answer maybe. I don't know, but you can call us, and we will definitely get back to you. That's 234-281-2510. It's the same number my students use when they text me at 11 o'clock at night, wondering if there's school tomorrow. And I don't ghost them either, even if it's 11 o'clock at night. I text them back, and I will use you. So, yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mills, for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, thanks for
and
having me.
here we have it, everyone. Mr. Keith Mills, candidate for Mayor of Akron.